Nope, it's not Ashton Kutcher. It's Kevin Malone.
Every character on The Office gets their chance to make us laugh. But it's Kevin Malone who seems to exist solely to be the butt of the joke.
Slow-moving, inattentive, dull, constantly snacking.
Despite his lovability, Kevin is defined by his shortcomings. His lack of intelligence, his incompetence.
10.
Really, 10. That's your guess. You're a professional accountant.
His sexual depravity.
I love fake boobs. Oftentimes you find them on strippers.
And his obesity.
There we go. Oh my God.
If you look back to the Kevin of early seasons, though, he's far from the food-obsessed simpleton who will later be mistaken for mentally handicapped. He's a fairly regular guy.
I just want to lie on the beach and eat hot dogs. That's all I've ever wanted.
Who's maybe a little vulgar and slow-witted.
And that blue busty gal, what's her story?
She looks like Pam from the neck down.
As the series goes on, Kevin becomes more and more of a caricature, growing cruder and stupider, as all his worst qualities are exaggerated until they completely consume him.
No, guys, stop. You have to sell me cookies. I'll do anything. Hello, my baby. Hello, my honey.
So why does Kevin get dumber? TV Tropes coined a term for what happens to Kevin, Flanderization, named after The Simpsons' Ned Flanders, who went from the annoyingly perfect neighbor seen in early episodes to a full-blown religious fanatic in later years.
And Harry Potter and all his wizard friends went straight to hell for practicing witchcraft.
Flanderization involves taking a character's minor traits and emphasizing them to the point of outlandishness.
Oh, I slipped in the tub and I banged my head.
Oh, Chrissy, I told you never to wear your boots in the bathtub.
But while Kevin isn't the only character to see themselves Flanderized, even on The Office itself, he may be one of the most illustrative examples of this phenomenon ever to appear on TV. Here's our take on the Flanderization of Kevin Malone and what we can learn from the de-evolution of one of TV's biggest idiots.
My name is Kevin. Yeah. That is my name. Yeah. They call me Kevin. Yeah. Because that's my name.
You're watching The Take. Thanks for watching and be sure to share and subscribe.
This video is brought to you by Skillshare, an online learning community where millions of people come together to take classes that fuel their creative journey. If you're one of the first 500 people to click the link in the description below, you'll get 2 free months of Skillshare Premium. So join today and start exploring your creativity. When we first meet Kevin Malone, he's not quite the walking punchline he would become in later seasons of The Office.
Kevin is a great guy. He's a great accountant. He is not much of an entertainer.
As one of Dunder Mifflin's 3 accountants, Kevin is primarily a foil to his closest colleagues, logical, efficient Oscar, and especially uptight Angela, whom he frequently annoys.
He's got to come out sometime to go to the bathroom.
Kevin, that's inappropriate.
But for the first season, at least, the show treats Kevin like a sympathetic, if unexceptional, human.
Anal fissures.
That's a real thing.
Yeah, but no one here has it.
Someone has it.
The character of Kevin was intentionally underdeveloped.
The character description for Kevin was, the only thing remarkable about Kevin is that he is remarkably unremarkable.
Kevin was partly based on his British counterpart from the original BBC version of The Office, Keith Bishop, played by Ewan McIntosh.
What'd you watch on telly last night?
What'd you watch on TV last night?
Like Big Keith, Kevin was designed to be little more than an oaf. He's a dull guy who makes the occasional inappropriate remark.
Are you jealous because there's another girl around?
No.
She's prettier than you, though.
That's a very rude thing to say, Kevin.
It was an unusually restrained role for actor Brian Baumgartner.
To reach the unreachable star.
A veteran of theater,
if I had lots of money, I'd go to Florida now.
Baumgartner repressed much of his natural showmanship to play Kevin. He also lowered his voice and spoke in a slow, halting monotone.
What do you mean?
But as The Office began to grow away from the British series that inspired it, over time Kevin became a much livelier presence. Baumgartner justified the change as Kevin growing more comfortable with The Office's faux documentary crew.
At the very beginning, Kevin was very, very nervous of the cameras being there. And as the cameras were there longer and longer, his childlike personality and unique charm was able to come out just a little bit more.
As Kevin began to open up more, we learned he was a glutton, a pervert.
My mom's coming in today.
MILF.
Thanks, Kevin.
And definitely not the sharpest guy in the office.
A credit card. It'll shred. Oh.
But while many of the jokes still revolved around his immaturity,
I always said it at 69,
or his weight, there were also hints that there was more to Kevin.
Oh, wait. That's Kevin. On the drums.
What?
On the drums,
oh
on the drums!
Oh my God, that's Kevin.
For one thing, he could be surprisingly perceptive.
Office romances are nobody's business but the people involved.
Romances?
Time and again, Kevin was usually first to suspect when his coworkers were romantically involved.
Pam and Jim are totally hooking up. All they do is smile. They're just keeping it a secret.
He could be surprisingly athletic. He was generally sweet-natured and a loyal friend, especially to Oscar, whose coming out he accepted without hesitation, even if he couldn't help making a few jokes.
Oh, hello, Oscar. How was your gaycation?
That's very funny.
Yeah? I thought of that like 2 seconds after you left.
In those first few seasons, Kevin also had actual storylines, and it seemed like his coworkers and the show genuinely cared about him.
Skin cancer is treatable.
Right.
It's gonna be okay.
Kevin had a fiancée, Stacy, and even came very close to having a stepdaughter. The show treated Kevin's and Stacy's breakup seriously, giving Kevin a rare moment of vulnerability.
After Stacy left, things did not go well for a while.
For a while at least, the show balanced Kevin's more outlandish moments with empathy, giving his comedy a tinge of melancholy.
Half the people come up to me and they're like, dude, that is so hilarious. I love when you drop the chili. And other people are like, I can't watch it. It disturbs me. It's so sad.
But as The Office wore on, its empathy for Kevin seemed to fade. Kevin became increasingly cartoonish.
Do a monkey face.
Do a monkey face.
I love that. I love that face.
Good, he loves it. Good, jump. Jump up and down.
It seemed like Kevin was no longer evolving, but regressing. What was going on?
Who gave you those crayons? I brought them from home.
As The Office passed its 5th season, Kevin's childlike personality became noticeably more infantile. He went from merely dull to borderline disabled.
He is mentally challenged.
Wait, back up. Do you think that I'm retarded?
And while Kevin was never exactly articulate, increasingly it seemed like he had trouble speaking in complete sentences.
So me think, why waste time? Say lot word when few word do trick.
He was no longer just a bad employee. It seemed like a miracle Kevin had ever been employed at all.
It's just that I wish the puppets would talk more about the alphabet. A, B, and so forth. You know, M and L O, P.
Kevin's mental deterioration became so pronounced that the show turned it into a self-referential joke.
He's always been like that.
No, he hasn't.
I mean, he's gotten worse over the years.
But while it acknowledged what was happening, it never explained why.
He's making a statement. It's an ironic comment on our expectations of him. A funhouse image of our model of Kevin.
You keep think that.
In the meantime, some fans even theorized Kevin's whole persona might be just a ruse. After all, Kevin had shown the occasional flash of genius over the years.
The pie shop is 13 miles away. So at 55 miles an hour, that just gives us 5 minutes to spare.
When pies are involved, you can suddenly do math in your head.
He was also an avid gambler, so he must be good at bluffing.
I won the 2002 $2,500 no-limit deuce-to-7 draw tournament at the World Series of Poker in Vegas.
In a third season episode, Kevin even seemed to hint that he might be up to something criminal.
I had Martin explain to me 3 times what he got arrested for. It sounds an awful lot like what I do here every day.
So some theorized that Kevin was only pretending to be stupid to avoid hard work.
He used to call it a Clevin. He told Dwight, a mistake plus Clevin gets you home by 7.
Or maybe even to cover up some kind of criminal plot.
And that is Dallas.
Baumgartner doesn't buy it.
But there's some other weird online office, like, conspiracy theory thing that Kevin is actually a genius. I also don't think that's true.
He says there's a more pragmatic explanation to be found behind the scenes.
When Steve Carell left a couple of years ago, and the writers sort of had this pathetically dumb idea, which, you know, was normally some big sort of physical comedy thing. It was, they sort of gave it to Kevin after that.
But even before Carell's exit in the 7th season, Kevin had gone from being a sympathetic, lovable loser to a broad exaggeration.
Sir, I need to be able to feed all of the guests.
Apart from his lack of smarts, Kevin's overeating became his most defining characteristic.
You really have to say, oh yeah, every time you eat a candy bar.
I can't help it, Oscar. It's just really good. Oh, yeah.
When his mouth wasn't full, Kevin was usually talking about food.
Every time you buy a Big Mac, you set one ingredient aside. Then, at the end of the week, you have a free Big Mac.
Meanwhile, the other characters, his supposed friends, treated him with open ridicule. They no longer seemed to regard him as a person.
Oscar, Toby said he left my Girl Scout cookies on my chair. Have you seen them? Wait, I'm sitting on them.
Kevin became so broadly drawn that he often no longer seemed like a real human.
Angela's cats are cute. So cute that you just want to eat them. But you can't eat cats. You can't eat cats, Kevin.
This loss of realistic depth in favor of flashier comedy tends to happen to any successful series that enjoys an unexpectedly long run.
The sweet stench of failure.
So we can find some explanations for what happened to Kevin by looking at other TV characters who met a similar fate.
You seemed smarter than me when I met you.
Did you see this?
Your screen is all black. You just unplugged your computer.
One of the textbook examples of Flanderization is, of course, The Simpsons' Ned Flanders. In early seasons, Flanders' churchgoing was just one facet of his overall nice guy personality.
I've got some ice-cold suds in the rumpus room if you'd like to join me.
But gradually, Flanders became a fanatical Christian zealot who was defined almost entirely by his religion, and the show's constant jokes about it. Most other characters on The Simpsons have also been shaped by increasingly exaggerated gags about their most obvious traits. Whether it's Mr. Burns' age,
Yes, I'm old.
or Homer's stupidity.
I am smart. Esta Marchi.
Perhaps it's no coincidence that, before adapting The Office to American TV, Greg Daniels spent several seasons as a writer on The Simpsons. Still, the idea of Flanderization predates its namesake. The popular phrase, jump the shark, the turning point when a show or work of entertainment becomes a caricature of itself, originates from one of TV's most famously Flanderized characters, Fonzie on Happy Days, who gradually transformed from a normal, if impossibly cool guy, to a magical superhuman who could do anything, even jump a shark on water skis. The scene was a turning point for the show, similar to the one on Happy Days' ratings rival, MASH, which Flanderized Larry Linville's character Frank Burns, turning him from a sanctimonious jerk.
Your conduct in there was not only unbecoming an officer, it was equally reprehensible as a medical man.
Into a dangerously unstable moron.
You're heading for a Section 8.
Section 8!
Feeling there was nowhere left for the character to go, Linville left the show in its 5th season. Over the course of TV history, Flanderization has been common in long-running shows, as actors and writers seek laughs by leaning into and magnifying what audiences find funny or distinctive about a character.
I know!
Kelly Bundy on Married with Children went from sarcastic, rebellious teen to promiscuous, full-blown airhead.
What was that?
Friends' Joey Tribbiani, who started out at least with street smarts, seemed to lose IQ points with each passing season.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Blue, blah, flu, flank.
Kevin wasn't even the only Flanderized character on his own show. Plenty of his office co-workers gradually became exaggerated versions of themselves. Perhaps none more so than Michael Scott, who began as obtuse and obnoxious.
That's what she said. Pam?
My mother's coming.
That's what she said. No.
Gradually lost any ability to read social cues.
You look at her, and she's kind of matronly today. But back in high school, I swear, her nickname was Easy Rider.
Then became stupid to the point of self-endangerment.
No, it's not me! There's no room here!
At the same time, though, Michael was allowed to grow.
We're moving to Colorado.
All of us?
And The Office countered Michael's exaggerated foolishness by increasingly drawing attention to his unique gifts.
You're a good boss. You're a great boss.
Meanwhile, Kevin's Flanderization robbed him of any character development whatsoever, relegating much of his life story to throwaway lines.
You know, when I hired Kevin, he was actually applying for a job in the warehouse.
Seriously? Or often to the deleted scenes.
What do we know about him? He's an accountant.
He plays guitar. He likes naval history. He's a bowler.
He's fat.
After his fiancée dumped him off-screen, Kevin was briefly given a new love interest.
I think you have the best smile. I'd like to take you out to dinner and a movie.
Okay. But the show quickly abandoned this relationship as well. And once again, that resolution ended up on the cutting room floor.
I would invite you, but I remember that you just want to be friends.
The deleted scenes are also where we meet Kevin's sister.
Stuart, this is my brother Kevin.
And learn a little about his complicated family life.
We need to put Mom in a home.
Leaving these moments on the cutting room floor in favor of more fat jokes might have been good for the comedy, but it was also a choice not to fully flesh out the character. One of the main criticisms of The Office in its later years is that it became more removed from reality, and that this faux documentary about real people increasingly treated those people like, well, TV characters.
Kevin, move! I can't pull up the rug if you're standing on it with your rhinoceros feet.
Even when Kevin gets fired at the end of the show, it's yet another joke about food.
Our next and most thickly frosted cake is for Kevin.
Yes!
Go ahead and just read the frosting.
Get out?
Still, there's nothing inherently wrong with Flanderization, and many audience members might prefer its results. As TV Tropes points out, sometimes it can give a sense of personality to an otherwise unremarkable background player. And in a large ensemble comedy like The Office, making characters distinctively drawn gives everyone their moment to make us laugh.
You're too charactery to be a lead, and you're not fat enough to be a great character actor.
Even within the show, the faux documentary they're filming turns Kevin into an exaggerated character.
What was that word they said when they showed me Skraltisband? What's that mean in Danish? Cool guy?
Dumpster man.
And it's because of this that Kevin finds he suddenly has fans who are eager to buy him drinks, which he parlays into procuring his very own bar.
I ended up with a $16,000 credit. It was cheaper to make me a partner.
Of course, we only learn this in another deleted scene, but it illustrates how Flanderization can make a character pop. Finally, Flanderization can also contribute greatly to a series' rewatchability. Surely one of the reasons that viewers continue to stream The Office in record numbers after all these years is that its characters remain so reliably, recognizably the same. Today, you can pull up any random episode of The Office and laugh at Kevin. No further context necessary.
Look at these little mini pizzas. Does this make me look huge? Hey guys, look at me. I'm huge.
Characters get Flanderized because their creators feed what audiences love and keep returning to about that fictional person. And so many of our most enduring TV characters get stuck, which is often right where we want them.
If you film anybody long enough, they're going to do something stupid. It's only human natural.
If you're new here, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell to be notified about all of our new videos. This video is brought to you by Skillshare, an online learning community that offers affordable classes designed to fit your schedule and your skill level. With Skillshare, you can try out illustration, experiment with creative writing, or master video editing. You'll get to do hands-on projects and receive feedback from your fellow lifelong learners. One Skillshare original you can check out is Christopher Rhodes' class on video production on a budget. Whether you're working with $80 or $800, the music video director will teach you how to maximize your funds by using natural light and building a prioritized gear and shot list. Right now, Skillshare is offering our viewers 2 months access to all their classes for free. But that's only if you're one of the first 500 people to click the link in the description below. So join today and jumpstart your creative journey.